Welcome to the Canadian Business Quarterly podcast, where we speak with Canada's most influential industry leaders on the business and economic development issues taking place across the country. You can stay up to date with all of our content, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.
Today's guest is Scott Ponuick, president of Peninsula Strata Management. Scott has been president of Peninsula since 1998. His hands-on approach to strata has allowed him to become a specialist in the management of newly built developments. By working with developers during the planning stages, he ensures strata's foundation is laid for success. Scott, thanks for joining us today.
Well, thank you for the invitation. I totally appreciate this. It's a great opportunity for me and obviously Peninsula Strata Management.
You're more than welcome. So can you tell us a little bit about the origins of Peninsula Strata Management?
Yes. Peninsula Strata Management was formed in May of 2012 by myself and my past business partner, Kevin Tom. We purchased the Strata Management division and the contracts of another brokerage that had been in operation since 1998. So we're steeped in a long-term clientele. And essentially, we took that clientele and we created a new management company. And we assumed all of the staff and we moved into our office in South Surrey, British Columbia, where we remain today since that time. During that origins, if we go back, one of the very first things we did was we hired Cecilia, who is our CFO. And I'd known Cecilia from a past employer that I worked with. And she was brilliant, super smart. She's a great accountant and has her MBA and BBA and CGA. So acquiring Cecilia to work for Peninsula Strata Management was a definite asset, and she was a great addition. And it was nice at that time when we started in 2012 to have a familiar face at the company that we could trust. So that was a great addition. Unfortunately, in 2015, my partner had developed cancer, and shortly after we took ownership, we had to maintain the business. He had to maintain his health, and Cecilia and I took over management of operations together and working together. And ultimately, over the next few years, it became evident that I needed to purchase the rest of Peninsula and purchase my partner's shares in the company. And so I did that. And in doing that, I was, I think, smart enough to keep Cecilia around, and I offered her to come in a partnership. So she became partners in Peninsula, which was great. And since that time, Peninsula has grown significantly. We average about 20% growth a year or better. We manage a portfolio of residential, commercial, and industrial strata corporations and properties throughout the Fraser Valley corridor. So that would be South Richmond, South Burnaby, South Delta, Surrey, Langley, Coquitlam, that area. And the demand for the services that we provided has increased, and it's caused us to expand our reach to a number of other municipalities in the Lower Mainland. So it's been a great run. We're officially next year 10 years, so we're doing well.
Excellent. So you mentioned residential, commercial, industrial. What's the overall scope of your services? Well,
essentially, we offer strata and property management services to existing and newly built residential and commercial strata, corporations, industrial stratas, and properties throughout the Lower Mainland of BC. So our services consist of full management, accounting only, and consulting. So with full management, we handle the day-to-day operations of the property, including full cycle accounting, strata agents always involved every day handling the day-to-day business. We process all the property forms. The agents liaise with council, the owners, trades. They attend site visits and meetings, obtain quotes, and so much more. Basically, it's full service. Yeah. And then for smaller strata corporations and smaller properties, the major hurdle we have found is in the cost of management and the cost of retaining a management company. And as a result of that, we didn't want to see any corporation or any smaller building sort of be left behind. So we developed an accounting only service. and Peninsula completes the monthly accounting duties, the management of the finances of the property in accordance with the Strata Property Act and or the required laws we're operating under. And then should the client need any consultation for any special projects or attendance at meetings, we can assist with that at an additional cost. So it's less of an expense as opposed to the full management services, but it helps those small properties meet their obligations under the law to complete specific accounting duties and management on behalf of the building. So we handle that, and that's a fraction of the cost of the full management. So it does help them to make sure that at least their financial portfolio is taken care of while the counselor or the owner oversees the actual operation. And then the last thing we do is we offer consulting services, which have been sought out by a number of larger development companies in British Columbia and some of the largest. And we provide consultation during the initial planning stages, working with the developer and their team to create proposed budgets and fees, bylaws and rules, and really anything else that's needed to develop that proposed development into a success and give it all the tools that are necessary to thrive in future once that is turned over to the new owners.
You know, while we're talking, you've mentioned accounting and consulting. Are these the primary things that you think make you different from other providers?
There are a couple big aspects of it. I mean, we are a smaller company, so we're allowed, and fortunate enough that we can make decisions a little quicker than maybe somebody who's a lot larger. But, based on my experience as a strata agent, and accounting is the number one thing that strata corporations care about. If you haven't got financial sense in your business and the way that you run the operations of the strata corporation or the property, and your situation with your customer is not good because they have no faith in what you're doing. So we hold accounting very, very high at our company. It's something that we cherish. We're managing a person's single largest asset. So if we mismanage that, there's consequences, and rightfully so, there should be. But in terms of what sets us apart, I think our size. So as I said, we can adapt. We have a high level of service and work ethic. Our experience and our commitment to the quality is the difference. Being a smaller management company, we're focused on providing value and a personalized level of service that maybe the larger companies can't offer. And then we're focused on the needs of the client because of that. So, we're smaller, but that being said, we work with some of the largest developers in British Columbia. We work with BD Development, Mosaic Homes, and Dawson Sawyer, and Isle of Man, and more. And those are those companies coming to us for our services is a testament to what we're doing. So that's a good thing. And I think that our agents ultimately are licensed to provide either strata or property management. So when it comes to real estate, we can manage anything. And the majority of those agents have been in the business greater than 10 years. And their past work experience helps them to anticipate, understand, and adapt to any of the situations that they may encounter during the day-to-day tasks of running a strata management or strata property or a rental property. And then you've got to take into consideration that, these people have backgrounds that are great. I've amassed a group of people that are senior individuals in this industry, and they have varied experience and history. One's a past real estate developer. Another one was a former contractor. Another one was in sales of flooring on a large national level. So the people that are involved are a major asset, not only because of what they do now, but because of what they've done. So they have a different viewpoint of stuff, which has been a big asset. And then, that is backed up by our support staff, our administrators, our accounting, and of course the management team cumulatively have decades of experience combined. And a number of our administrators are qualified with CGA and MBA designation. So that's a big asset to our clients. And ultimately, we encourage our staff to further themselves, continue their education, participate in that by way of providing partial or full tuition reimbursement, We do weekly training sessions and bi-weekly training sessions. We often bring in professionals and suppliers of products in order to provide presentations so that we can better understand some of the stuff that's happening in our industry, some of the things that we can use to help our clients at the end of the day. And ultimately, it grows our staff's knowledge and skills, and we provide greater value to our clients at the end of the day when we do that. So, that's a big thing for us. And then, with what's happening in the world with technology, embracing technology is another big thing for this industry. It's unfortunately technology. We're a very small industry, so there's not a lot of stuff that's been created specific to property and strata management, but there's stuff that's happening. So when technologies do arrive, implementing those tools and implementing internal policies and procedures has definitely helped us to increase our staff's efficiency, and that helps our clients at the end of the day. Ultimately, it's something that we strive for. We try to bring in things that will add value and make those choices in a very informed but a quick manner too, right? We're a little bit smaller, so we can do those things.
Fair enough. And what's happening at an industry level within Strata currently?
Well, what's happening? We could talk about that for a while. There's been significant changes over the years. When I started in the business in 1998 to now, there's been a lot of changes, but the biggest ones that I would think would be legislative changes that have been brought in by the government. And, all those changes have been brought in to provide more transparency. And with transparency, though, comes an increased amount of work. There's typically more documentation and potential really for more work and more liability towards the agent and potentially the brokerage. So that's a big one. There's been so much new construction, as I'm sure you can appreciate, that developers keep building, but our industry at the moment needs more bodies to manage that. That is a massive challenge for any business to find people to work, but ultimately with what we do, you have to be licensed, you have to have the education, and then having some experience in the industry is vital. So you're not looking for somebody that just walked off the street and just handed in a resume. That doesn't work. From my standpoint, it doesn't allow me to employ a person. I need somebody that's got some skills in order to do the job. And if I have that talent pool, then that's a big advantage. But that's a big one right now with the amount of new construction that's coming in and just the lack of qualified bodies to meet the needs right now and to meet future growth. I don't know how it is in Ontario, but I suspect it's a lot of the same where, the majority of people are now moving towards a multifamily type scenario because of the cost of land and the cost of real estate.
Yeah.
That's meaning that a majority of people will have to consider living in a co-op or a strata or something along those lines. So we need more bodies to manage those buildings efficiently and effectively in accordance with any of the government bodies and regulatory bodies that we have to in British Columbia and anywhere in Canada. And then the last thing I would have to say in regards to that would be affordability. And affordability, obviously, with purchase of the housing, but also the costs related to the maintenance of the building itself. So you've got the cost of insurance, maintenance, and repairs. Insurance has gone up by a significant amount over the last 2 to 3 years. And this has had a dramatic impact on many stratas and properties we manage and that many manage. And as they navigate the increased expenses for operating, for repairs, for maintenance, the cost of labor, the cost of materials, as they function and operate, it becomes a big challenge to maintain their investment. So it's a struggle for myself and for agents to do their job because we're always having to obviously say, hey, we need more money to do what's necessary. But, on the other side of the table is the person who has the paycheck that doesn't increase maybe that much by the cost of like the materials or the cost of the labor. So it's a big issue. And that has a trickle down effect that is not a good one.
Okay. And Before we finish up today, is there anything else that you might like to add that we haven't addressed?
Yeah, well, I think, as a company, we will continue to focus on what made us who we are, what has worked for us, and we'll continue to be customer service driven, find positive solutions to the challenges our clients face. We're excited to continue working with the development companies we already work with, that we've built a long relationship with, and we look forward to, the new developments we have coming in future. We're focused on new business development and management opportunities in commercial and industrial strata and rental properties. So that's a big avenue where we've grown. Our business has grown significantly in the commercial and the industrial area. So we'll continue to focus on that. And as technology evolves, we'll implement new measures and such. I think ultimately, if we can keep righting the ship in the direction that it's going in, and continue to exceed our growth every year of a minimum of 20%, then we're doing pretty good. And I think it's manageable. We don't want to grow too quick, and we just, we want to offer good service, not necessarily be the biggest for sure, and generate a healthy lifestyle for everybody that's working with Peninsula Strata Management.
Excellent. Well, Scott, thanks very much for your time today.
Oh, thank you for taking the time to be with me on this call. I appreciate the opportunity. It's very important to us to obviously represent what we do as an industry, and I'd like to thank CBQ Magazine for that opportunity. We truly appreciate it, and thank you very much for your time. And I hope 2022 is a better year for all of you, and it brings you much success.
This has been a production of the Canadian Business Quarterly, a division of Romulus Rising Proprietary Limited. All rights reserved. You can stay up to date with the Canadian Business Quarterly, including our publications, newsletters, and podcasts by visiting www.thecbq.ca and clicking on subscribe.